Hello and welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and I had to make this video since a long time ago, since the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. There was this line of Johnny saying that he had to hide in the bathroom because Amber was on the other side, telling him to go out because they were having an argument and he was avoiding the situation. He was avoiding having an argument with her. He was avoiding the solution in some way. And this is a manipulation tactic that I wanted to delve deeper on it and tell you how can you avoid the same situation for yourself, how to fight back that kind of situations. This is when someone tries to guilt trip you into keeping an argument over and over again for even for many hours to drain your energy so you feel exhausted in the end. So first, let's see how this works, how this starts. It's a setup that starts with the manipulator turns any accusations against you. This is something very usual, a common tactic at first when you are going to accuse them of something, maybe of cheating or maybe of something that happened that hurt you. And in some way you want to make it clear that you did not like what happened. Well, the first tactic that they're going to use is that whatever you tell them that they're guilty of or they're responsible of, they're going to turn it back to you, that you're the one responsible because they cheated, because it's your fault, it's something. They're going to do any kind of acrobatics to make it clear that you were the one responsible for this. And it will be baffling for you because if you're an empath, most probably you will consider all those points as not valid, but you will think about them. Well, maybe I was guilty of this and responsible of that, and you will begin doubting your own perception of what's going on, that you were going to tell the manipulator that they went too far with this. Well, what happens next? They escalate to the point of verbal, psychological, or even physical abuse. After all, they are the victim. So once you begin to lightly consider that you were responsible in some way of whatever they did, I think that doesn't make sense because it's not like you control them like a puppeteer or something. Then that moment they will explode, or they begin exploding gradually, but most probably it will be an outburst, a verbal outburst or psychological, telling you names or telling you all the past faults, maybe nitpicking something from the past that was never talked about. Maybe they will mention that you talk to a person, of the opposite sex in a way that they did not like, and they never say that about it at the moment or ever, and all of a sudden it all pops up, okay? And all of a sudden you feel attacked of whatever whatever the manipulator tries to reframe the situation into you feeling guilty, and they can even get to physical abuse. They can begin maybe slamming doors or maybe threatening you or maybe even hitting you. So you must be very careful with this. It's not gonna make sense but that is exactly what the manipulator wants, because right after that, if you try to withdraw from the argument because you notice that it is escalating in a way that can literally hurt you physically, they label you as coward and not cooperating. That is a sort of guilt tripping you. It's a way of manipulation and reframing the situation. If you lock yourself in the bathroom, just like Johnny did, then they're gonna yell at you and say that you are not cooperating. You're the one that doesn't want to save the marriage. You're the one who has problems. You're the one who should go to therapy. You're the one that is conflictive. You're the one to all sorts of label. Maybe you know this much better than I hope not. I have not, because this is a very difficult and uncomfortable situation that can harm you for life, because these constant psychological attacks take a dent in your self-perception. There's undeniable. There's gonna have a dent. Now, how can you fight this back? It's important to understand that you need to confirm that there is no rational way out of the argument, okay? You have to confirm that. You notice that regardless of your logic, or regardless of the facts, or regardless of your words that you know that just work, that just makes sense, well, there's no way out of it. The manipulator always finds a way to go more baffling, or blame you for something, or just turn the conversation away from what you are right about. Maybe you are right about something. They will turn the conversation away from it to another flow of you unrelated to the moment. Okay, so you feel guilty and bad in any way. So if there's no rational way out of the argument, if it's only an emotional attack, a constant emotional attacks, and always deflecting the main topic or the main subject of what you raise in the first place, then we go on to the next point. That is, confirm that respect has been lost to the point you being in danger. Okay? This is important, because if you can have an argument with your significant other, okay, that's okay. We always have arguments with our partners. That's something that sometimes it's not that it's common, but it's something that's going to happen at some point or another. But it's important. It's always in a framework of respect. Okay, that you don't lose the respect for one another. And when you notice that you're not being respected, when you notice that you're being attacked as a person, intrinsically as you as a person, that is a problem. That is a very big issue, because you realize that this is not about solving the issue. An argument should be about solving an issue. An argument should not be about attacking the other person. And if you feel attacked and you feel that there's no more respect, that there's no respect in that argument, then you realize this is it. This is you being in danger. The other person, the manipulator, doesn't want to solve things. They just want to attack you personally, so you feel bad and you forget what were you saying in the first place, what were you accusing them of in the first place. That is their tactic. So at this point, keeping the argument will only drain your energy, and that's exactly what they want. They play the victim. You are the one who is hurting the relationship. You are the one who is doing this and this. That's why your family doesn't want you. And for example, the argument that your family doesn't want you is something that I should explore in another video, because they make sure to separate you from your friends and family and somehow blame you for it. That if you got separated from your friends and family, it's because you did something to them or you act in some way, and pick every single weakness that you have and weakness that you perceive about yourself to reframe it as you're the one putting everyone away, like getting everyone away. So withdrawing is the only option. That's why in that case Johnny hid in the bathroom, but that was only a temporary solution. This is relevant because these temporary solutions only will lead to your willpower drains out. And if your willpower drains out, they win. What do I mean when I say that they win? This means that you're going to just relent to whatever they said, about you. At the end, it's that your main topic, your argument, what you said about them, your accusation about them, like you cheated or something, that will grow invalid. That will be invalid. Whatever you said, your stance is going to be invalid. And whatever is going to be achieved is like just a middle ground, just like splitting the difference, like in saying negotiation, finding a middle ground between their accusations and your accusations. And that is absurd, because we already confirmed in point 1 that there's no rational way out of this argument. Their words, their sentences, their ideas, or whatever, how they attack you are not rational. They're attacking you emotionally, and you're feeling bad for it, and you realize and you begin to question yourself, am I really the bad guy here? Am I the bad one here? And that will be that if you lose all your willpower, if your willpower drains out, you will say, I just want to rest, to take a break from this argument, and that's it for today. Because you will be so spent after hours of that, you will say, well, maybe you are right. Okay, it's like those interrogation techniques that are based on extracting a confession from the person no matter what, and that's why you deprive them from sleep, you deprive them from food, from water, until they just break down and make out a false confession. This is the same principle. That's why the manipulators do, and they can do it more effectively because they know your weaknesses and they know your flaws, and they use them against you. And that is something that you never realized they could do, because most probably at first they gained your trust by love bombing you at the start of the relationship. Just a word of warning. This can happen in any setting. This can happen in a family setting or a social media setting too. But it's much worse when it's your partner that does it, because they have spent months or even years gaining your trust, and all of a sudden they begin using that against you just to control you, because they enjoy that control. They enjoy that power, but they knew that they had to gain your trust, earn your trust first. So this is how it works. Going to that original example, we got this. Remember when Johnny said that he hid in the bathroom? Now you know why he did that. He wanted to withdraw from the argument. He wanted to end that. He wanted to not keeping that fight, because he knew that Amber was getting physical every time, and he wanted to avoid that. Okay, and that's something that you want to avoid. The problem is that you might think that you can win those arguments, or you can cure the person, or you can get the manipulator back to that state where you were happy. And if you see that there's no rational way out, if you see that the respect has been lost, then withdrawing is the only solution left. And of course, cutting the relationship with the manipulator. Of course, this is gonna be much more difficult if you're kids. That will be the topic of another video, but for starters, this is a manipulation tactic. The manipulation tactic is try label you as coward and not cooperating if you try to just cut the arguments that don't make sense, and even attack you when you know that you did nothing wrong and you were right, and somehow you're doubting yourself more and more every single time. My body language buddies, these quick videos are to give you tips on manipulations and narcissists, and well, all these tools to defend yourself against toxic behaviors. So if you like them, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video, so you will get and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my other body language analysis and tips. And remember, that is my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. Take care.